I don't know if I'm tripping. Maybe I'm tripping, maybe I'm not. But is everybody becoming antisocial? Okay. There's a couple things I want to talk about that. Antisocial, definitely. It feels that way. Feels like a lot of people don't talk anymore. Not a lot of talking. Now, coming from somebody that worked in the public, um, I got a little burnt out when it came to hearing people talk and different personalities and stuff. So I'm not gonna lie, I kind of enjoyed it for a while. I was like, okay, a lot of people are not talking. Everybody's just going with the flow as far as being outside, do what they got to do, gas station, um, going to the movies, going out to eat. They kind of stay in their confined area. They don't really communicate if they don't have to, and I loved it. Now it's getting to the point where common courtesy is gone. No more grand rising. People don't really like to say good morning for a lot of reasons, but people don't even say good morning. They don't say good afternoon. They barely say good night. Not a lot of talking. It's not. But it amazes me because people don't talk in person, okay? But when it comes to text, people don't even make phone calls anymore. So I'm just talking about talking, period. But when it comes to text messages or talking on social media, people will talk for days. But in person, the complete opposite. Now, I fell victim to that too, and I think you have too. Okay, if you disagree, that's fine. But I'm sure most people will agree. You meet a person that you like, text message, you say a lot, in person, totally different. And I think the art of conversation has disappeared. Like a good conversation. I'm not talking about small talk because I say it before and I'm gonna say it again. I'm not a fan of small talk. I feel like it's a waste of time. I know it's being polite and you're kind of like shutting off that awkward silence, but when I talk to people, it don't have to be a deep conversation, but it has to go somewhere. It can't just be like, how your day going? Oh, that's good. What are you doing here? You come here often? I don't like talking like that. That's ridiculous. But I like to be right in the middle. It don't have to be deep conversations. Deep conversations are for separate people that you get to know and you want to know more about. I'm talking about in the public. There is no more communicating. There's no more social. I mean, everybody knows it. This is the most obvious thing when you see people in public. Even when you see people on dates, they be in their phone. And I just want to know, and hopefully somebody can help me out, why are people more comfortable talking on the phone than being in person? Now, my theory to that is when you're on the phone, whether it's text messages, hell, even voice messages, or talking on online in the comment section, you can be a different person. And people are not able to point out your personality or point out flaws in what you're saying because when you text, you have more time to read over it. You know, it's no spontaneous text. You read over your text before you send it. So it's like so many layers that it's like a shield from who you truly are. Now, when you see people in person, it will be too many awkward silences if you're able to sit back and actually think about what you're going to say before you say it. So that's why I think people are more comfortable with talking online and texting than to talk in person. Because keep in mind, online, there's so many ways, so many apps, whether it's Reddit, Twitter, hell, YouTube comments, TikTok comments. People are talking. It's thousands of comments a day. But those same people, because I've been following people that I know in person, and the way they act online and how much they talk and how much they say so much hateful stuff or even positive stuff, they don't be like that in person. Now, funny enough, you could kind of say that about me because when I'm in public, if you don't say much to me, I'm not going to say anything back. But if you open up that space, I will conversate with you, but I'm not like a super open person. But I'm talking about just in general, it's been times where I give people that space or I'll try to spark up a conversation. One word answers, chuckles, awkward silence, seem like they don't want to say a word. And sometimes it seems like they want to talk, but they just don't know what to say. And I think we're programming ourselves to be silent in public. Because one of the things is you don't want to say the wrong thing because people are sensitive nowadays. You can't even be humorous or say jokes anymore because people might take it the wrong way. So it's almost like everybody's shutting down. Now, it's always starting off with a small group of people that are like this. It used to be small group of silent people that were not necessarily nonchalant, but they kept to themselves. And then everybody else was social. Everybody else, you go to a club or whatever without even liquor in your system. You're just talking and having a good time. Now it's two or three people that are moving and grooving and being social, and then everybody else is just not doing anything. People talk about it all the time. People that do still go to the club, I don't know anybody that still goes, but when you go to the club, people don't even dance no more. People just get their little spot and just stand there. People even stand on the dance floor. So it's like things are changing. Where's the conversations at? Where's the getting to know people? It's leaving. And I can't really, I know it's easy to point the finger at the phone, but it's like we make that choice to lean closer to the phone. I feel like when you start working on yourself and getting to know yourself and building up a personality, you'll be more eager to have conversations with people, not just asking for their Instagram so you can DM them later something crazy that you wouldn't say in person. And we can get into that, even with the beefs, the people beefing with each other online. It's like you could tell people go back and forth. And, I read all the comments. I read everything. I enjoy when people go back. I'm sorry. I know it's not a good thing, but I be watching the beefs where somebody will leave a comment hitting at something, and then people drop in the comments that they feel like they're talking about them, and they go back and forth in the comments. I'm reading everything. I'm reading it all. I'm bored. And then a couple weeks later, if you're lucky, you will see the video of the person catching the person in public. And one of the people always look like they're in shock. And they're always like, why are we fighting? Why? Both of y'all was talking stuff. It's always one person ready and one person not. And it's like the one person that wasn't ready, you could tell it was just some internet stuff where they was either bored or, a lot of people don't want to look a certain way online. So if somebody like throws a threat at them or talks about them, they just feel obligated. They have to say something, which to me, you say something about me online, I'm probably not going to say anything. I'm not going to lie. I'm probably just going to let it pass because it's so much stuff going on that, yeah, people will see it for like an hour and then it's 100 different things popping up online and people will forget about that. But people's ego gets the best of them and they feel like they have to say something. And when they see them in public, they got to keep the same energy. They got to be that same person that they was online. And 9 times out of 10, they're not. And that's why I don't really beef with people online, because as an adult, you already have so much stuff you have to worry about. Already have bills, kids, payments, going to work, coming home from work. Somebody gonna catch you. They're gonna catch you when you're not ready and you're not ready to fight right after work, stopping to get gas, whatever the case is. And it could have ended with a simple conversation. We don't have to beef, but it seems like people are just more comfortable being a different person online. And I will never understand it. I won't. And that's why I say I think it's because if we kind of worked on ourselves a little bit more and stopped trying to adapt to what we think people want us to look like, maybe then we would be able to have more substance and more conversations. Now, in my opinion, what made me start being able to have conversations was just working in the public, because I worked in warehouses and I worked in public, and the people in the warehouses, they're the more antisocial. They don't do the common courtesy. They don't say thank you. They don't, when they walk past you real close, they don't say excuse me. So I think it's good for like teenagers and stuff to just, their first job should be working at a fast food restaurant, something, just so they can get in the mode of being able to conversate with people online and deal with people and learn how to deal with different personalities, so they won't be a 30, 40-year-old that don't know that you're supposed to say excuse me, thank you, and you're welcome, instead of just being silent. So rude. And perfect example is when I worked in a warehouse, there was like we had like a little cafe where, you go in there and there was a kitchen, whatever. And, working in a warehouse, if you worked there your whole life and never worked in the public, you don't even know how to interact with the kitchen staff or the cashiers when you cash out. They were just, so the cashier trying to interact with them and they just wouldn't say a word. And it wasn't really awkward for me because I wasn't a part of it, but I know it was awkward for the cashier because they're probably not used to dealing with that. Now, wham, 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 whatever, but it's still, as a human being, you should be able to talk. You should be able to express yourself and just be pleasant to people. Because a lot of times when you don't say anything, people assume And assume is a terrible place to be, because now they may think you're being ignorant, but the truth is you just don't know what to say and know how to conversate. And there are limits. Don't get me wrong. You don't want to be a person such as myself that talks too much, as you can see. But you also don't want to be at the bottom where you don't say anything, because now people will paint a picture of you. Maybe they think you're hateful or you're bitter, and it's none of those things. You just don't know how to talk. Now, that's why I say at a younger age, go into the workforce. Don't go to a warehouse where people only talk when they're asking questions about the work. You got to go into social. Be one of those people that know how to talk, know how to carry yourself, know how to, because it's just more of a positive vibe. Because you could be a super positive person, but if you don't say anything, people are just going to assume that you're, I think I fall into that category. I think a lot of the times I always give off a vibe, because when I go certain places that I don't know anybody, I'm not gonna talk. And you don't. I know a lot of people act like they don't care what people think. Yeah, if I go somewhere, if people don't like me, who cares? But we're human. So I had to start learning how to greet people in a different way where they know I'm not full of myself. You know, I could think of 1,000 examples where I went places and I didn't really say much, because I was always taught, don't speak unless spoken to. That's what my thing was. I never really had the urge to walk up to random people and just speak or whatever. Now I'll say, how you doing? Good afternoon, stuff like that. But I never really sparked conversation with people. But I had to learn how to do that, because in different environments, you kind of want to give off a good vibe. Stop acting like you don't care. Okay, stop going certain places and being like, if don't nobody say that to me, I don't care what people think of me. We all care a little bit. Certain levels, we care a little bit. Stop acting like you don't care at all. Conversations can go a long way, whether it's relationships or out in public. They always say communication is the key. And once you learn how to communicate, now, me saying all this, I understand if you start learning how to communicate, you most likely, since we're living in an antisocial world, you're going to run across people that don't know how to communicate, that don't know common courtesy, and it's going to make you feel some type of way. I can't tell you how many times, and I know a lot of people agree with me, how many times you hold the door for somebody and they don't say thank you. You wish you could rewind and not hold the door for them. I'm one of those people. Or if you're driving in a car and let people get over and they don't say anything or wave their hand or say thank you, you wish you can rewind and not do it. But you got to have, I forgot the slogan of compassion for the weak. You got to have compassion for the weak. And I'm not saying people that don't know how to communicate are weak, but as an adult, I have certain expectations for other adults. Because even if I'm not really good at something, or if it's not my place, as an adult, you have the choices and you can search for the resources to try to get better in certain situations, instead of just being like, oh, it is what it is. I'm telling you right now, if when I turned 18 and I went into a warehouse and I've been there until I was 30, at some point I'd have been like, since I do go other places other than work, I would have been like, yeah, I got to work on my social skills, because working in a warehouse where you just kind of tune out, like zone out and just work, it's not good. It's not, first of all, it's not good for a lot of reasons. You're not a robot. But secondly, you don't want to go out in society and not know how to communicate. Like, you got to build a certain personality as an adult. You have to. Your personality can't just be online. You can't just have a personality on Facebook, but then in person, you don't know how to talk. And as I said before, I've done it before. I've had a lot of confidence in text messages, but when I meet up with a girl, I'll be a totally different person. Quiet, shy, embarrassed, all of the negative traits. I just didn't know how to maneuver, because sending text messages and stuff like that is the easiest thing to do. And that's why there's so many creeps online. Like, they'll just DM a girl and say the craziest stuff, knowing that in person, if they seen this woman in person, they would never say any of that stuff, because you're hiding behind a screen, and you're just texting on a keyboard. You're not saying it out loud. And I feel like that is super unhealthy, because first of all, people can track you down now. Like, sooner or later, people will find out who you are. And secondly, that's some creepy stuff. And I know men and women do it, but it's like, it's not a good look. It's unhealthy. It needs to stop immediately. And if that, hopefully whoever watches this video, you're not one of those people, but that creepy talk online, I see it all the time. I see a beautiful woman and I'd see, the comment section, men saying wild stuff. The first thing I think of is you would never say that in person. I don't care if you're 6'3", 200 pounds, male, bodybuilder, you still wouldn't say it because it's embarrassing. You're just saying that because you can online, but people don't understand you still can affect somebody. Words can still bother people online. Like the comment section to this day will always bother people. I don't care how unbothered they may act, but words do hurt people. That little saying, words will never hurt me, that is a lie. Words are powerful. Depending on who it come from, well, no, it don't depend on who. It doesn't matter. Like certain things, well, it kind of does depend on, because if you really care about the person, they say something hurtful, it may hurt you. But you know what I'm saying, okay? It's words hurt people. So that's why you have to build like some type of conversation skills, social skills, where words matter. Say this instead of that. Now, do I agree on the tone that you say it? As a man, I wasn't really taught tone. Only thing I was taught was like talk a little low, when you're on the phone, shouldn't be so loud. But other than that, I kind of say how I feel, which kind of rub people the wrong way too. So you have to learn all that. To a certain extent, you got to learn tone. You got to learn word association or whatever. You got to learn what words to use instead of that. And the communication, the better you are with communication, you'll have better relationships with people. And not saying you're scamming people or manipulating people, but you'll get more out of people when you say certain stuff a certain way. Now, I know I sound like a scammer when I said that, but still, like, I learned if you word stuff a certain way and have a good energy behind it, hopefully you have good intentions, you'll get certain stuff out of people. And like I said, not bad intentions. I'm just saying if you need certain help, or even if you want to pay somebody to do something, if you come to somebody a wrong way or rub them the wrong way, it doesn't matter if you had good intentions. They're not going to do it. If you want a girl's number, you can't be like, hey, come over here and give me a number. You can't do that. You can't. Well, I mean, maybe you can if she finds you attractive. She might think it's funny. But if you're an average dude, you got to word it a different way. You got to have a different tone. And you have to learn that. Communication is a big part of life. If you want to get through life in a positive way, you got to learn how to communicate. And even if somebody disrespects you with words, kill them with kindness, communication. Or if you want to fight them or have debates with them, communication. Don't just be ready to fight. You get my point. But I go live Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday every day at 11 a.m. I love having conversations with people. I love to interact with people. So whether you're watching it live or on the watch back, hit that like button. I appreciate your time because you can't get time back, and time is priceless. That is not a quote. I did not steal that from anybody. That's how I truly feel. So enjoy the rest of your day. I feel like someone is antisocial because everyone is trying not to get cooked. Yes, I agree with you. That is 100% fact. I think where everybody's under a microscope now, like, and I agree, because even being live, you gotta, streaming is a big thing now for a lot of people. So to your point a little bit, I know I'm kind of going off track, but wording stuff a certain way, people are more sensitive nowadays. People don't want people to take it the wrong way. So being silent is the best key. That is, just not saying anything at all is the best thing to do, in my opinion. It is what it is. And shout out to you, Buck. Thanks for stopping by. But enjoy the rest of your day. Hit that like button and make sure you have a fantastic day.